Internets, hello you absolute lovelies. Let's talk all about Thunderbolts, asterisk, what that asterisk means, those post-credit scenes, the movie in general, in full spoilers. This is going to be a full spoiler review for the experience. The comments are likely going to be full of spoilers. It is a movie that you should see before getting spoiled. I know some people enjoy spoiler culture before seeing movies. I've never personally understood it. I would recommend you check out the movie before watching this particular review. There are lots and lots of incredible moments that really pop with an audience that is really special to experience yourself. Before we get into the actual spoiler review, please hit that subscription bell if you haven't already. We're approaching 50K, and when we do, gonna do a 50 comic giveaway. This page is about movies, it's about TV, and it's about the comic books themselves. I read 50 to 70 comics a week, and I break down all the favorites I had that week and the ones that I think are more approachable that you might enjoy. So if you're into comics, movies, or TV, subscribe. Also like this video so the algorithm favors it, and leave a comment below. I would love to know 1 to 10 or a letter grade, probably 1 to 10 though, what you thought of Thunderbolts. I would really love to have a conversation about this one. This one felt like that magic Marvel energy was so back, so let's talk about it. First, let's talk about the energy around this film. It is releasing on the Avengers release day. 7 years ago was Infinity War, which is insane. And this feels like that Iron Man opening weekend all those years back. This feels like that really powerful, something special is coming out conversation, whether it's the press or the fan conversations or how it's being received by critics and civilian folk watching the movie alike. This one feels like an event, and what's so special about that to me is the movie is based in emotion. The movie is based in this actual traumatic feeling, and I said in my non-spoiler review, and I'm going to double down on it here, this feels more like a film than most comic book movies. This feels lived in, this feels rich, this feels textured, this feels like it's got intention. And that's what I really want to talk about in this review. The intentionality of this film is something that I think we were missing in some of the films people haven't enjoyed so much out of the MCU. This doesn't feel made by the studio. This feels made by a filmmaker that had a vision. And I was lucky enough to see this at Vidiot's last night. Vidiot's is this incredible theater out here in LA. It's at an independent theater. It is very classic. It's not corporate. It's this beautiful slice of cinema. And they had these shirts, which I'm so appreciative of getting, but also we're having a Q&A with Sunlocks, who are the composers behind the film, and they were describing the experience of actually getting previs and being able to score the film and find suites for these characters and build out the Thunderbolts theme and do all of this as the movie was coming together and actually getting to play some of these things for the actors. So when you feel like a movie is made by studio hand, it often feels disjointed. It feels like it's cobbled together. A lot of my least favorite of the last 5 years of Marvel things have been the ones that felt like the studio had to get from A to C, and here's this movie that's B. And it feels like a B movie. This, they literally had so much planned out that the composers who usually get brought in post-production are actually getting to be involved in pre-production, through production, and into post-production. And that little anecdote kind of spoke to my whole experience of the film. Now, let's talk about the big thing that this movie is, and then let's dive in backwards. This is a new Avengers movie. This is a really insane thing for Marvel to do. The biggest brand name recognition they have is probably Avengers. The word Avengers brings them $1 billion. It's brand recognition. To make a brand and to make that into an asterisk, to trust in this movie in itself, in word of mouth, in hype, in the conversation leading people to go see this movie, instead of calling it New Avengers, is an incredible risk that I am so appreciative for. This is, and apparently it was Kevin Feige's idea to stick with it, and I think New Avengers would have been perfectly fine as a title, but it would have gotten all the guff that the movie is aiming at by the end of the film. The B-Vengers, the Not My Avengers, all that stuff. I love that they're Papa Doc in this thing. I love that they're coming 8 Mile at it and being like, yeah, we've got this ragtag group of underdogs. We've got these mercenaries, these assassins. This is what the Avengers is right now, and I love how we got there. I love that it's Contessa basically manipulating a system and doing what she can to stay unimpeachable and like playing the card she has. That's very much what we get in the Thunderbolts comics. That's very much what we get in the Dark Avengers comics with Norman Osborn. This is very much in line with the New Avengers being not what you'd expect. This is, a blend to me of Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, and New Avengers, and the title New Avengers makes the most sense for public consumption, non-comic fans, the day-to-day. And it's also a great commentary on what we're going to see with this new team versus the Sam Wilson, as we see in the post-credit scene, what we're going to experience with these two disparate teams of Avengers that are probably going to be very different tonally as the Fantastic Four ship enters our dimension and we have the stuff coming with Doomsday. This is the perfect way to bring in this title. I love it so much, but I really love the boldness of the marketing. I was talking at the top about the intentionality of the film and what the director was able to do by having it all mapped out to that level. This also speaks to the other side of that, where you have the Thunderbolts name as your marketing and the asterisk being the big mystery, and the Avengers thing as your post-credit scene, it not getting leaked, us not confirming hearing about it, all of those things, but the intentionality of having that be where you land and the mapping of the future of the MCU, I feel like is what we've really been missing in post-credit scenes. I feel like with post-credit scenes like the Harry Styles one or Hercules or a number of ones with like Wong gathering people and it not going anywhere, it feels like the MCU was really good at looking back and using, the things we wanted as fans 20 years ago and bringing them into the modern day. But looking forward has felt a bit just disjointed, to be honest. This is the last film in Phase 5, and I have so much more hope in Phase 6 because hopefully, knock on wood, there isn't another writer strike or pandemic or any of the number of things that has caused a 10-year plan to get disjointed and thrown off. This feels very intentional. This feels very much looking to the future with a plan, and that's all based on this incredible post-credit scene that ties beautifully into the movie. Now, I said we're going to work at the end and work our way back. I want to talk about the third act. I want to then talk about the second and first act. So the third act, this being a spoiler review, this is the stuff I couldn't talk about yet. I love that this is a movie that ends with support. This is a movie that is about not being able to do things by yourself. That is a team. That is a team dynamic. In so many superhero comics, movies, TV shows, anything comic-y, there is often a team fighting, whether another team or amongst themselves, and then they end up teaming up. We get that here, but by the time it actually lands, there's a reason for it. Them coming together through their shared experience is the human experience. Human beings love to find people that think like them, that feel like them, that have been through things that they've been through. That's a huge reason why there's so much tribalism on the internet. That's a huge reason a lot of people listen to reviews. I personally like to go into movies without knowing too much about other people's opinions so I can form my own. A lot of people like to go, man, this is $20. I have AMC A-list, so it's $25 no matter how many movies I see, so I see them all. But a lot of people are like, $20, I need to see if someone else liked this that I see eye to eye with. And that's what always confuses me personally as a reviewer is when I see people in my comments like, blah, 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 didn't like it. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not blah, 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 and I don't care about blah, 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 and I don't know why you care about blah, blah, blah. I appreciate you caring about my opinion, but why would my opinion make you yes, no, deciding to go see it? If you think you'll like it, try it. Like, hope you get 2 hours. If you hear someone say they didn't like it and you could have liked it and then you opt out of seeing it, you've just lost 2 hours of joy. Or worse yet, if you are wanting to think like someone, then you hear they don't like it and then you don't like it because you went in thinking you wouldn't like it. That's such a waste. And I do feel like that shows the human nature of wanting to feel like you belong, wanting to feel like you fit into a group. And I think that's what fandoms have become, is people trying to fit into a group, but that group putting down other groups, or it's not as good as it was other groups. And I feel like that's the Thunderbolts. That's this group of people that just like want to find their way and they don't get along with most people. They aren't, socialized. They're not comfortable. And you've got a villain that represents that to a T, and he's so innocent. And it's almost Hulk-like, where you've got Banner, who's got, an endearing quality, and then you've got Hulk that's a liability. And this feels like the New Avengers, where it's a ragtag group that's got this ticking time bomb, like in the first Avengers film, where New York goes awry, and that's cyclical. And I love that they play with time and age, and the fact that, Bucky sees this as like the young girl, what's her name? Mel. Mel being a character that is an assistant to Contessa and basically would be so young that was when she was in high school, and that's in real time. Like, the Avengers happened quite a long time ago. Iron Man was 2008. If you were born when Iron Man came out, you're like a grown getting out of high school person, which is insane when you were born in Iron Man. So this is a long-running franchise. This is, Sebastian Stan's Unforgiven. but it's all based around a rebirth of a generational thing where it's a bunch of people coming together that are very disparate, and they've got this one uniform liability. And I love that it's a member of the team, just like the first one. I love that Sentry represents brokenness and darkness and the void versus the light, and I personally connected more to Sentry here than a lot of the comic books. I'll maybe make a video if you guys would like, talking about the premiere experience, but got to talk with most everyone. I did interviews for the Hollywood Reporter, went to the after party and talked with a lot of folk, and got to speak with Lewis Pullman at the after party, and he was so excited to talk to a comic fan and to talk with me about my comic experience because of how much he wanted to get it right and how important it was for him to find that voice in the character. And to me, that's the Void. To me, that's the Sentry. To me, that's Bob. To me, that's like that like, you know, the Void wants to destroy everything that Sentry did, and Bob just wants to make sure everyone's good. And it was the pride of being an actor, and it was also the hope that he got it right, and also the likability. Like, Lewis Pullman just felt like this character in so many ways, and that's really what makes this movie work. Is everyone in this movie has trauma. Everyone in this movie has a dark past. Everyone in this movie has done things wrong. Everyone in this movie is falling into the void of loss. And the human element of the story is what I think Marvel needs to look at. Like, I think Winter Soldier is a very human story of a man that is feeling betrayed by the thing that he's dedicated his life to, that he's feeling wronged and alienated. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a group of people that don't have a place they belong, that are looking for family and that find it in each other. I think Iron Man is a man coming up against his own ideals and realizing this isn't who he thinks he is, this isn't what he wants to be. All very personal journeys. To me, Thunderbolts is the darkness starting to take over and you wanting to stop it before it fully wins. And I love that that's embodied in these characters. I love that that's embodied in the villain. I love when the villain is a mirror to the hero and it gets to be metaphorical and not as literal. I think Iron Man and Ironmonger works. I think Thor and Loki works. I think the deeper you get into it, the more repetitive it feels. When you've got Iron Man and Whiplash, it doesn't feel as exciting. When you've got, Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man, not quite the same pop. So this really worked for me when it feels metaphorical and larger than just one character, but a whole group of characters. Going back into the beginning of the third act, I love the action, I love the visualization, I love the style, I love that this feels nightmarish, I love that this feels psychological. This was shot by the Green Knight DP, this was directed by the guy that made Paper Towns, this was scored by the team behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. It has these incredible ingredients that come together into this really unique experience that feels more filmic than like a splashy movie, and I love that. But it still has the action you want. I love the set pieces here. I love the destruction of New York feeling big and full of scope and also like an Avengers experience. But I also love when the action isn't big, but it's small and it's internal and it's introspective. I love the repeated nightmare sequence in Russia. I love the use of the house and all of the feelings of disorientation and how they authentically feel disoriented. I most of all love that it feels like it's emotionally driven. This film has these great action set pieces in every act, but they always feel like they're emotion first, blind action second. The action fuels the emotion. The emotion grows as the action grows. It's not the action getting bigger and us caring less about the people. It's us caring more. And I feel like this being a female-led film really helps with that. I think the emotionality and the comedy and all of the things that really work have this great female lens. I brought my fiance to see it with me the second viewing last night at Vidiots, and she was pointing out how much there is a female perspective on the men being like, just they've got this one goal in mind and they're just trying to get it done. And like the joke with Red Guardian when he's like, yes, and then the second yes they cut off of women just like letting guys do guy stuff, and the ineptitude at times of that, the frustration of times of that. Bob and U.S. Agent not being the most capable, and Ghost and Yelena, it's not Mary suing, it's not them being like, oh, guys can't do anything. It's them being frustrated that they all can't do things and them solving the problems and guys like running off. And it's really well done. It's really great. And it's a female perspective that feels like it's fair, and it feels like it's emotional, and it feels like it's authentically dark to her experience and to what she went through. And I really like that. I really like that it's a female-led team with a female-led movie, with Florence Pugh crushing and being so captivating, so funny, so endearing, so charming. And honestly, like what I got out of the comedy of her, that release of your diaphragm when it's so tense, then you find a laugh and you're like, we needed that. Yes. So the third act, all that nightmare stuff, great. Second act, I love the team coming together. I really enjoyed, we'll go to the first in a second, but I really enjoyed in the second act that the film is actually at odds with each other. Like I authentically feel that they start to become friends. You feel the tension actually go away. It's not like, now we got to team up. And I really like the slow burn of that. I really like the reluctance of becoming closer to her father in that speech. That's pretty much the beginning of the third act for me. I really love that the relationship between Wyatt Russell and the reveal of like his family not working out, and the redemption arc from Falcon Winter Soldier feels real. I love that Ghost is a character that doesn't have a lot going on in the comics, didn't have a lot going on in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I generally cared about her by the end of this. And I love that Bob got to stay a comedic relief, but also a darkness. There's like an awareness of something's not right here, something's not well. Then into the first act, all the while Sebastian Stan like co-leading from the side to bring the team together. And I love the moment where, you know, your Terminator 2 moment with the motorcycle. I love that there was an actual like landing of the team coming together with Sebastian Stan being the side plot, the lead of this other journey coming in was such a moment. And then the first act, we've got the whole breakout, and I think that was fantastic. I think that was like heroes fighting, and then you see that they're going to become a team, the dynamics, the action of them fighting in different ways, and how dynamic that is, and how interesting that is, all planting seeds for the emotion of them becoming friendly and becoming a team and all those things. So they've earned the new Avengers title to me. They have absolutely found a way to make Avengers feel modern. They have found a way to make these underdogs, these scallywags, these mercenaries, these lowlifes, these people outside of the social strata feel like Avengers, but in a new way. And that's such a good title. I would have liked Dark Avengers as well. Wouldn't have worked for the PR branding that Contessa needed. So I see why New Avengers worked, but they are a dark team of Avengers, and we got to see that. They are a new team of Avengers in a new world. We got to see that. We got to live that. The post-credit scene finally meant something. The comedy post-credit scene was also funny to me. The running joke of Wheaties landed when we got to get the payoff with them as New Avengers. Seeing that logo for the first time, seeing New Avengers for the first time, all of that felt like the Marvel energy. These fights felt like the Marvel energy. The comedy really, really worked for me because it came a place of emotional truth, came from a place of plot, it came from a place of actually driving the thing forward, not just like, haha, like random joke that didn't really serve the character or the plot. This felt really lived in and purposeful, and I really loved it. This is one of my favorite new MCU films. I think it's my like 12th or 13th of the 36 MCU films. This is right at my top third. And looking at the top, like, you know, we're talking, this is in the Winter Soldier, Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, world for me. This is around like Black Panther and Spider-Man Homecoming is probably just under this, to be honest. I got to look at it, but this is up there. This is, I think, number 12 for me of the 36 MCU films, and this crazy journey we've been on, this 17-year journey since 2008, this being this good, and this being this new, and this being this fresh, and this being this much of a film, this being so a testament to trusting the audience and letting an asterisk speak for everything, letting branding of quality speak for everything, of letting a movie really breathe and be dark and emotional and special and human. Comics are great because of the human element. The punching and stuff is awesome because it's exciting. But the human thing is the connection. And the human thing is what makes us care. And the human element is what this movie, I think, elevates above others. So I really appreciate it. I want to thank everyone involved in the film. I want to thank Vidiots for this dope shirt. I want to thank Marvel Studios for trusting your marketing team and using an asterisk, and for making something that made me love comics even more. As always, I want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment below. What did you think of this film? 1 to 10. I give it like a 8.5, which is pretty high for me. Like an 8.5, maybe a 9. Like, it's up there. Really, really love this one. Somewhere between an 8.5 and a 9. Like I said, I think it's number 12. Maybe 13. I gotta look at my list in the MCU as a whole. Please let me know in the comments below what was your experience. If you want me to make another video talking about anything in particular, you know, this wasn't so Easter egg heavy. I feel like that's its own video. This wasn't, you know, what's next? Please explain the ending. I did. So if there's any other videos or stuff you want, I love this movie enough. I'll keep talking about it. But the cast loves it. They're so passionate. If you want to check out my interviews over at The Hollywood Reporter, love this cast. They were delightful to talk to, and I was really flattered to do so. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Please like, please comment, please subscribe for not already. And dude, it's good to have a Marvel movie feel this fun to talk about. The fact that I'm excited to talk more about it. Tomorrow, spoiler live stream over at Real Rejects as well. So lots of Thunderbolts to come. Hell yeah. Thanks, Shane's Electronics. See you guys soon. Bye.